So continuing with lesson 8.2 in intermediate algebra, this is 8.2c, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at some of the problems. So I'm going to start kind of backwards. I'm going to jump all the way to problem number 56 because it's very, very similar to 55. So if you can follow what I'm doing with 56, then 55 shouldn't be any problem. There's the equation that we're going to use, but it's not what we're looking for, obviously. But we're looking for a line that's perpendicular to that, and the line that we're looking for goes through that point. So if we have, and I'll erase this in a minute, if we have, say, this line right there, and let's say that that is an example of that top one, and then we have another one that goes like this. It says it's perpendicular and it goes through the point 2, -6. So the blue line is what we're looking for, and they gave us this as a reference and this information in order to find that blue line. So they gave us the red line equation and they gave us this point right there. Alright, so let's get rid of all of this and start over. So the 3x minus 5y, negative 3x minus 5y equals 2, and the point 2, -6. So let's go ahead and see what we're going to do. So they want us to find the equation. So first of all, we have to find the slope of this equation, because the slope of that equation is going to be flipped upside down and given the opposite sign, and that will be the slope of our new equation. So remember, in order to find the slope of this equation, we set it equal to y. So I'm going to move the negative 3x over, so you add it to both sides. Then I'm going to divide by -5, so I get y equals, and remember we separate those, and we have that. Okay, so there is the slope of this equation. So the slope of the new one will be it turned around and the opposite sign. So the sign on it is a -3/5, so we'll change it to a positive 5/3. Alright, so we have our slope. So happy days are here again. As I erase all this junk. Okay. So that's our slope to our new one. So our y equals 5/3 x plus b. That's what we've got so far. So now we just have to find our b in order to solve this. And the simple way to find our b is to take our point right there. This is our y, that's our x, and we're going to actually just plug them in for our y and our x there. So we're going to put, instead of a y, we'll put a -6. And instead of an x, we'll put a 2. There we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and multiply. Subtract 10/3 from both sides. Have to find a common denominator, so we'll make that -18/3. And, okay, let's move this up. This would be -28/3 equals my b. Alright, so I have my m right there. And now I have my b. So I'm going to write it in blue here. Y equals 5/3 x minus 28/3. There's my equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so not too bad. The book tends to do it a different way. Notice what I did. Let's see if I can go back here. I took this formula and I put a negative 6 in here for y, and I put a 2 in for my x here. So I put a negative 6 there and a 2 there and solve for b. The book used the formula y2 minus y1 equals m times x2 minus x1. You can do that, but I find this to be a little bit more confusing than just plugging the point in that they gave you 2, negative 6 in the problem for 56. So if you do the exact same thing for 55, you should be fine. If you look back at 53, you do the exact same thing. The only difference is, remember, for 55 you're looking for a line perpendicular, so you take the slope, you flip it upside down, and you take the opposite sign. Whereas 53, they're finding an equation of a line parallel to the graph. So when you put it in slope-intercept form and you find the slope, because it's parallel, the slope of the equation you're trying to find is going to be the exact same fraction. So if the slope is 2/3 in 53, where they say 3x minus 5 equals 5, once you've put that in slope-intercept form, the slope you get for that is going to be the slope of the new equation you're going to get. So if the slope is 3 in the equation for 53, then the slope for your answer will be 3 as well. Okay? So that should give you some help with 8.2, the hard ones.